That's a wonderful story. So, this commander who may have killed so many people, even that commander, exposed to your love, responded to you with his love. Is that the case? So, Chairperson, any comments? Yes, indeed. I know it's easy to talk about this experience, but you risked yourself in this experience. It was your own experience, and that has so much impact on people like ourselves. And your achievements, risking your life, dedicating your life for the objective of peace and for reconciliation. You've put everything into this. I think your words carry so much weight, and it really is based on the outcome, so I can only be impressed and be so inspired by you. Thank you so much. I'm truly inspired. Now, having said that, you have had a series of very difficult events, challenges, and some of your close friends were killed very close to you. And I talked about apologizing for Salvatore. Thank you so much for your kindness, Father. You are indeed a man of love. But Salvatore, Father Salvatore, he also came from Italy to the Philippines. I think he was your colleague, 2 years younger than yourself, who also went from Italy to the Philippines together with you. Now, perhaps, maybe the target of the attack was Father D'Ambra. Perhaps, maybe it was a mistaken target. But in any event, Father Salvatore, your very close friend, was unfortunately killed by this attack. Now, and your very close friend, Goi, was also killed. I understand that when your local friend was killed, you went back to Italy for 2 years, and you went to a place called Sufi. You studied Sufi when you went back to 2 years. And I understand that learning Sufi, you came upon the Arabic word of Silsilah, or the origin of the Silsilah movement. So, you've had a series of challenges and sufferings and many problems along the way, your close friend being killed in front of you. So this goes back to the earlier case of Mr. Roger Kimuli. But how did you overcome these suffering? And you were able to translate this, you were able to overcome this and talk about Padoyon. What is the source of your strength?
I think the source of strength is God, first of all. And I believe that when we are sincere in our mission, we have that energy, spiritual energy that God will inspire us. Now, talking about this, in reality, Father Salvatore was with me in Siocon, in the mission, and after this the negotiation, we are still in 1981, we were together, and one night he was with me, we were in a motorcycle, looking for some situation, we heard some shooting, and in reality the shooting was a way to attract me to go out and to kill me. It was a group of soldiers. I heard it was a very professional killer, was hired for this because the military were a little bit disappointed on my negotiation because, I succeed in my way, they didn't succeed in their way. And unfortunately that night, when I was ambushed, Boy, the Guzmas, it's one of my leaders was killed. Salvatore was there. I think that event and many other things helped him because he was a wonderful person. We have here some Pime father who know him very well, and he likes to talk, but he was not so much courageous. But that event in life, at a certain point, he asked to be with me. So after going to the States, finished his studies, and said that in 1990 he joined the Silsilah. And that was the time when probably some of you know how some group, fundamentalist in, we can say, in nature, came to the Philippines, and now it's a group called Abu Sayyaf. It's in the line of so-called terrorism. And in 1992, in March, first of all, they tried to kidnap me. It was a very funny story because they gave the order to kidnap me to another commander without knowing that commander is my friend. He came to me and said, "Father, I received an order to kidnap you." I said, "Okay." And after he said, "I cannot do because you are my father, you help us," etc. So he brought me in 2-3 places in Zamboanga, and after meeting some commander, I came back. That was March. In May 1992, unfortunately, they succeed in some way. It was during the summer course. We were together with Father Salvatore in the evening until maybe 10-15 minutes he was killed. So he took the car and went to a certain place where there is a house of Pime, and I remained. We do not know. The story I heard that probably they thought I was the one who drive. But for a very strange coincidence, that night I decided to stay, he decided to leave. Along the road, he was killed. Now, the first time one friend, boy, was killed, I was sent to Italy by my superior. Here in the Pime Father, we have some people who have been my superior, but they are not in that generation. But the superior said, "You have to go to Italy, you are in danger." So that was my first exile. And some way was providential. I was using the time to study Islam, Arabic, to prepare myself. And you mentioned about the Sufism, so I was touched by the spirituality of the Sufism, in some way influence also the movement in a more spiritual way. And after the second time, when Father Salvatore was killed again, I was sent to Italy for other 3 years in exile. I hope no more exile or other things. I'm in Zamboanga, a place where we are only few Italians. One only Italian priest is there. It's with the escort. I supposed to have the escort, but I said I try to survive. So I'm still here, and I continue my mission in the best of the way. Of course, it's not easy, but I'm happy. I'm happy to be with the people, and because also the people suffer there. There are situations quite difficult. It's quite complicated to say the difficult situation. Can I add also, in this situation I described a while ago, this war last September, many things happened. Now we are trying to recover from that bad experience. But one of my fears is it's increasing a form of extremism, especially among the Muslim young people. So the great challenge that we have, we work on all levels, especially leaders and youth, to really bring the message of love, to counteract the message of violence in that sense.
From a different point of view, I'd like to ask a question. In order to have dialogue, I think there must be mutual understanding. So I think we must change our awareness through education. It was introduced in the video earlier, having summer school for children, going to camp together, and by promoting such exchange, there are many education programs. And in particular, the children, when they are small, instead of making education of hate, education to promote mutual understanding, that understanding will continue to exist until they grow up.
I think you said tulai bata.
Tulai is a bridge.
Tulai means bridge.
Children.
So you're promoting this idea. I think this is a very important project to develop the mind of peace when there are children.
Yes, this idea that I explained a while ago, the dialogue with God, ourselves, other creation, and the spirit of Silsilah, we try to bring to all levels, to the leaders, to the youth. And years ago I said to myself, how to use a language fitted to the children, the kindergarten, elementary school. We have elementary school in a Muslim area, it's an island, and kindergarten, 5 or 6, more or less, in very poor area where majority are Muslim or Muslim Christian. And I start to conceptualize what is, you mentioned, Tulai Bata, this, the children will be a bridge, or the bridge of the children for dialogue and peace. And the concept is simple, but of course, hopefully we can develop more. The concept is not only the school, but involving also the family and the communities in this kind of project. We started, for instance, in a place we started was quite successful. Now that place where there are already almost 300 families have been destroyed completely by the fire. And so on. So it's our dream to work more with the children to educate. Meanwhile, in some community, we have another program that we call Harmony Zone. We identify Muslim Christian respect in the area, and we promote this dialogue as we believe, and with the idea they could bring this to the community. So I hope with the inspiration of Goi Foundation, I know that you are working that line, we can be more active in our Tulai Bata.
ありがとうございます。今のね、子供のその教育の問題で。
Thank you. You talked about education for children. And also, in the Goi Peace Foundation, we do various activities. Of course, children are taught by adults. Children learn from elder people. But today, we heard the recitation of the essays. I think adults can learn from the wisdom of children. Children have such wonderful wisdom. And the essays that we heard today are the symbol of that. So, Chairperson, any comments? Thank you. Of course, in the declaration of all life on earth of the Goi Peace Foundation, we talk about the innocence of the children. And children, Mr. Tan and Mr. Kimuli, their essays were full of wisdom, which we adults must learn. As we become adults, maybe we're losing our innocence and things that are very important, and things that are pure, honesty. Maybe we are losing that as we become adults. And children still retain that. Of course, children must be fostered by the parents and by the teachers. And the teachers and the parents must recognize the value of the children. If that could be done, then we can go beyond the differences in ethnicity, religion, national states. Children don't know about these differences. It's adults that teach the differences. So, as Father mentioned, education is very critical, especially to retain the beauty and the value of the children. We must make sure that we teach them things that are positive and try to exclude as much as possible things that are negative. I hope that we can foster such children. That's my aspiration. Education is very important. Thank you very much. Well, we didn't have too long a session for the dialogue, unfortunately, and the time has flown by. We could only maybe listen to half of what we wanted to hear. But the final point, the topic of the dialogue session is exploring the roots of peace. And from the comments so far, I'm sure all of us have been able to gain some insight as to what Father Ambra has in mind as the roots of peace, because what he's doing is indeed the roots of peace. Any final word, Father, as a message on this topic of exploring the roots of peace? Or you mentioned that it's not just about Mindanao. You mentioned that you want to spread this message to the world. So, final word on this topic, Father, please?
Yes, the root of peace, I mentioned my last sentence in my presentation was the heart of peace is the peace of the heart. I believe that the root of peace has to be cultivated in ourselves. When I started Silsilah in 30 years ago, it was a time under martial law. The orientation is more social activities. And some people came to me and said, Father, what is this new movement? I tried to explain, and they told me, but why you have to talk about spirituality? We don't need this. We need action, etc. I said to them, to sustain our action, we need a spirituality. In fact, in my presentation, I said, for us, dialogue is love in action, silence and harmony. Not only action, silence is important. It's prayer, meditation, reflection, listening, waiting the right time, etc., etc. And this can create the harmony. So I hope all of us, of course, we are convinced, but hopefully we can share to the people that without heart, we cannot really solve the problem of the world. There are many conflicts, and sometimes there is the language of the diplomats, the balance strategies, and for sure there are reasons. But our friend from Africa, I've been there in that place in 1972. In Eluro, Bujumbura, time of killings of Hutu and Tutsi, and terrible. I saw this tragedy in many ways, and now it told us a beautiful story. They changed paradigm, and that is the paradigm that we wish to achieve. And Silsilah, I think, is moving that direction. Tell to the people that if we move by love and by compassion, inspired by our golden rule, all of us belong probably to a religion, big or small, or any believe that there is a divine in us. So if we are inspired by this divine in us, this spiritual presence in our heart, for sure we will find the root of the solution, and the root will help us to build a better world. In this connection, and I want to use this last moment, we have, it was mentioned there, one activity. We started in the year 2000. In the year 2000, the president at that time declared the total war in Mindanao against the Muslim. And we said in Silsilah, that is not the way. And we started to have the Harmony Che initiative. It's an initiative of meditation and prayer for dialogue and peace that we are spreading all around the world. There is a special prayer, a special song. So if we go against the trend of violence, inspired by what we believe, Silsilah, Goi Foundation, and many good organizations, for sure we will discover together the root of peace.
ありがとうございます。Thank you very much. 会長から最後、一言なんか平和の原点。
Chairperson, do you have anything to say at the end? About the roots for peace. It's not to depend, but each individual person must have its own faith and be sure about itself that, as Father mentioned, there is always something divine within ourselves. We must be aware of that. I think almost all of us, as was mentioned, culture of peace must start from where we are, from our individual positions. We should not wait for the government to do something for us and follow the policy of the government or to depend everything on the religious leaders. We have our own capacity, we have possibilities, we have something divine within ourselves. We must be aware of that and make use of that by ourselves instead of depending on others to be independent. The young children, they presented very wonderful efforts. We tend to criticize ourselves, and there are many people who commit suicide. And why are we killing ourselves? What do we have among ourselves? People think that there's nothing we can do. People are too negative, but Silsilah's activities of education and others to give message to the children. I even want you to make your presentation at the United Nations instead of making revenge. Love is important. And I think that is the root of culture, which is love. Well, thank you very much. I'm sorry for being prolonged. Thank you very much for your wonderful discussion and debate. Thank you. Thank you very much. Please give a big round of applause to the panelists.